Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time once again. My friends over at G Fuel have boosted my code to a 30% discount in celebration of the Modern Warfare beta. From now all the way until the morning of the 17th, you guys can save 30% off your entire order by using code IMMORTAL at checkout. Also, the brand new limited edition Hype Sauce flavor dropped earlier today. It is a raspberry lemonade flavor, so if you guys do want to check out that, you can also get 10% off that using my code as well. Anyways, on to the regular video. The time has come, my friends. Today is the day. The traditional Modern Warfare multiplayer experience is finally here. No more 4-player 2v2 lobbies. Today we can finally experience what Modern Warfare multiplayer is really like, as the PlayStation 4 exclusive beta has officially kicked off. And of course, this time next week, everyone, including those who do play on Xbox One and PC, will be able to log on and play during the crossplay beta. So for those of you who are on the beta today, and even for those of you looking to get an extra edge next week, you're going to want to be using the best settings alongside the best setups to ultimately dominate in-game from your first few matches onwards. So today, we're taking a look at everything you need to know about the Modern Warfare multiplayer beta and breaking down a few major keys to succeed. But before we jump into all of that, if you guys are new here, the next month or so is going to be jam-packed with a ton of MW content leading up to the full release at the end of October. Then of course, we're really just kicking the content into overdrive at that point. So if you do want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of MW, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when a new video goes live. Oh, and rumor has it that there may be 4 beta codes hidden throughout this video. Shout out to Activision for hooking it up with those. So if you do happen to spot one, head on over to callofduty.com/redeem to try and jump on the beta today. But now let's get into the MW beta and everything you need to know about it. So first and foremost, let's talk settings. We ended up covering some of the best settings to use back in the alpha, so we'll have a little recap there, but we also got some brand new settings to mess around with as well that will ultimately improve your gameplay experience. So right out of the gate, something that we saw upgraded from the alpha is that of the sensitivity settings, as we now have both the horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, and also ADS sensitivity for marksman and rifleman scopes, which honestly is huge. Previously, the alpha did not have any kind of ADS sensitivity options, so to have those at our disposal is a big upgrade in my opinion. And on top of that, the ADS sensitivity options are moved by values of 0.01 rather than, I believe, the 0.25 values like they were back in BO4, so that is pretty nice too. You don't necessarily have to make the huge jump from having a 1 ADS sensitivity to a 0.75, which ultimately means you can be a lot more precise than in the past, which obviously is a great plus there. Here though, what you actually want to use for yourself when it comes to your ADS and your horizontal and vertical sensitivity, that is a lot more preference based. What works for someone isn't necessarily going to work for everyone else, but the precision here with the settings is pretty sick. Alongside that, we also saw some changes to the aim assist settings, where now we have aim assist as the only target recognition feature. But we do also now have aim response curve type as well, which is a pretty interesting setting to say the least. However, under the aim assist settings in specific, we do now have some new options here too, as we can now choose between disabled, standard, precision, and also focusing. Disabled obviously turns off aim assist completely. You probably don't want to do that. Standard is the traditional aim assist that has a minor aim slowdown near a target. Precision provides stronger aim slowdown that only kicks in when aiming close to a target, and it does also say that this aim assist setting is best for those more accurate players. Then finally we have focusing, which provides strong aim slowdown that also kicks in when narrowly missing a target, and they say this is the best setting for players who are relatively new to analog aiming. So depending on your experience in game, I'd say you might want to mess around with precision and focusing, but if you are just looking for a more natural aim assist feeling, like what we have seen in years past, standard is probably going to be your best bet. I ended up trying out everything but disabled since it makes no sense to disable aim assist, and honestly standard is what I felt the most comfortable with, so that's what I would recommend personally, but at the end of the day it does vary from player to player. Now for aim response curve type, we end up having 3 settings in total. We've got standard, which is a simple power curve map from aim stick to aim rate. We've got linear, which means the aim stick maps directly to aim rate. And we've also got dynamic, where you have reverse S-curve mapping for fine aim control. Admittedly, I'm not 100% sure the full effects of all of these settings, but I personally tried out linear, and man oh man, let me tell ya, it feels like the response time on your analog stick is instant. Now, I'm not saying that the standard setting felt laggy because truthfully, I really didn't think anything of it, but when I switched over to linear to actually just try it out, good grief, it felt so much more responsive, and personally, I really liked that, so I would certainly encourage trying out linear aim response curve type based on my own experience. Now, aside from that, a few other things you need to know about the beta come in the form of gameplay mechanics, and of course, most importantly, weapons. Moving into the latter there, by the end of the beta, we are going to have a pretty hefty amount of weapons to choose from, and right off the bat right now, you get a handful of default classes that are all honestly pretty solid. You've got one featuring the FR556, aka the FAMAS, which, if you hit your shots, this thing is next level good. Then we've got the AUG setup, the SMG version of it to be precise, so this one doesn't have the best range, but it is pretty good up close, especially with those upper body and headshots. We then see we have a setup with the M91, this is a light machine gun, and this is definitely a more camper-friendly class, so personally I'm not too big on that. That is then followed up by an AK-47 class, and this thing hits pretty hard too with the right attachments. And then finally we see we have a sniper class as well, featuring the AX-50. Now, I have tried all of these setups outside of the M91 since LMGs just really aren't my thing, and honestly, I enjoyed them all quite a bit. After you reach level 4 though, you then gain access to the create a class or the loadout customization, and from there you can select from a handful of weapons that'll be available all throughout the beta. But what is kind of weird here is the fact that we can see certain weapons that simply are not going to be available during the beta at all. The maximum level cap is going to be level 30 once the crossplay weekend comes around, whereas now the cap is currently at level 10. But there are plenty of weapons and even perks and equipment that are shown that we won't actually be able to use over the next 2 weeks. So kind of an odd choice there, but it is what it is nonetheless. Now let's talk specific weapons, what's good and what's not so good. We'll have a more detailed class setup video coming out tomorrow, but there are a few weapons you might want to use right now that honestly I think are pretty good. Keep in mind, I still only have a few hours playtime on the game right now, so these classes will improve over time, but I've been trying to experiment around as much as I could, and the most consistent weapons that I've found thus far are the M4A1, the default FAMAS class, the default AUG class, and also the MP7. The AUG, despite it being a default class, is really solid mainly because of its lack of recoil. It is honestly pretty easy to control in most engagements. The MP7 absolutely beams up close. It kind of reminds me of the MP7 from MW3, which is definitely one of my favorite weapons of all time, so I'm big on the MP7 hype there. The default FAMAS, like I said earlier, is nutty when you hit upper body and headshots. The one burst potential with this gun is insane. And honestly, being that it is a 3-round burst, it doesn't really have a ton of recoil to worry about either. Then finally, we've got the M4A1, which is probably my favorite weapon in the entire game as of right now, just because this is what I've spent the most time using. The gun without attachments, I'm not gonna lie, is kinda rough, but once you start leveling it up and getting the stocks and the underbarrels and whatnot, it ends up getting really good for both recoil control and damage output, it seems, so just take that into consideration. On top of it all, we also got confirmation that the nuke in fact is in the game. It is available to unlock. It is a 30 gun streak. You cannot get any kill streak kills to help you with that. And if you do end up getting the nuke, it is a game-ending secret streak, so that is there as well. With all of that being said though, that is everything you need to know about the Modern Warfare multiplayer beta as of now, and that is effectively going to wrap things up for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated, and it also does really help the channel out. And of course, if you are brand new here to the channel, and you do want to stay up to date with all of the latest news, updates, leaks, and rumors regarding Call of Duty Modern Warfare, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on, that way you'll always know when I upload a new video. As I mentioned in the intro, right now Code Immortal is boosted to a 30% discount over on gfuel.com, so if you are looking to try a new flavor, restock your favorite tub, or just stock up prior to the crossplay beta and the full release of MW, be sure to use Code Immortal at checkout to save yourself some money. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.